annual general meeting by acknowledging that the land on which we live, work, and gather is Treaty 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10 territory. The traditional land of the Cree, Dakota, Dene, Nakota, Saulteaux, and the homeland land of the Métis Nation. My name is Rod Amaya, President of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals, and it is my honor and privilege to serve as chair of SCPP's 111th Annual General Meeting. To enhance the communication during the virtual AGM, all attendees will be muted. During the agenda items where we require attendees to participate, we ask you to type any questions or comments on the chat box. We will have a moderator to inform me of any comments. I'd like to start this meeting by introducing the members of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals Council for the July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022 term. President, myself, Saskatoon. President-elect Amy Weave, Saskatoon. Past President, Stephanie Scott, Weyburn. Honorary Treasurer and Rural Remote Pharmacist Representative, Tanya Horkoff, Werman. Rural Remote Pharmacist Representative, Roxanne Bengal, Watson. Urban Pharmacist, Sarah Kosciuszko, Regina. Hospital Pharmacy Technician, Tracy Martin, Weyburn. Division 2, Kyla Jackson, Hudson Bay. Division 4, Shona Novakoski, Saskatoon. Division 6, Brandon Cran, Swift Current. Ex officio, Dean Alarcon, Saskatoon, and designated ex officio, Yvonne Shepchak, Saskatoon. Public members, Bonnie Caven, Regina. Mark Hawkins, Regina. Michael Lumernding, St. Brew. Karen Estemiu, Regina. Senior Stick, Maya Radenbaum, and Celine Elder, Saskatoon. Unfortunately, Jane Alarcon, Stephanie Scott, Brandon Cran, Michael Lumerding, Shona Novakoski, Celine Elder, and Mark Hawkins are not able to attend. We're moving to the adoptions of the annual general minutes from the 110th AGM. Due to the virtual nature of our AGM, we ask members to move and second the motion in the chat. To vote, we ask that only those members that oppose the motion to respond on the chat function. Please remember that only practicing and not practicing members have the right to vote. The motion reads that the minutes of the 110th Annual General Meeting of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals held on Wednesday, June 9, 2021 via WebEx be adopted as printed in the 2021 Annual Report. Oh, Sarah moves. Thank you. Sarah Kosciuszko move. Tanya Horkoff second. Thank you. Now I'll give you a few seconds. Remember the procedure. Only if you're against the motion, please write on chat. Seeing none, motion passed. Thank you very much. In 2021, the college modernized the council structure and governance model and moved away from the 8 electoral divisions to an electoral categories. As of July 1st of this year, the transition to the new governance model will be completed. We welcome new elected councillors whose term begins on July 1st, 2022. And I would like to thank them for devoting their time to the mission of protecting the public interest by building excellence in the professional pharmacy practice through regulation. The council members are Scott Livingstone, urban pharmacist, 3-year term. Kelsey Dumont, hospital pharmacist by acclamation, 3-year term. Shona Novakoski, community pharmacy technician by acclamation, 3-year terms. The following individuals I will mention are SCPP appointees to external organizations. Appointee to the Canadian Council of Continuing Education in Pharmacy, Danielle Larocque. Appointee to the National Association of Pharmacy Regulatory Authorities, Gina Wendell. Appointee to the Pharmacy Examination Board of Canada, Susan Gulka. Appointee to the University of Saskatchewan Senate, myself, Rod Amaya. Appointee to the University of Regina Senate, Linda Soltz, up to March 31st, 2022, and Zach Dumont, starting April 1st, 2022. Now we would like to recognize those members who we have lost. Please bow your heads for a moment of silence in tribute to them. Thank you. Moving on to our President's Report. Please refer to page 5 of the annual report for the President's Report. I ask the General Assembly if there's any questions arising from the President's Report. One more time, I ask the Assembly if there's any questions arising from the President's Report. Hearing none, thank you. Now I invite Gina Wendell, Registrar, to present the 2021 SCPP Registrar's Report and 2021 SCPP's Financial Report. Gina?
Great, thank you very much, Rod. Please refer to page 6 of the annual report for the Registrar's Report. And again, I will ask if there's any questions pertaining to the Registrar's Report. I'll just ask one more time if there's any questions pertaining to the report. Hearing none, I will move along to provide an overview of the 2021 audited financials. So please turn to page 41 of the annual report. So for page 41 of the annual report, I'll just go over some of the audited financial statements. So first off is the approval process. So the audit committee met on April the 14th of 2022, and the audit committee consists of the president, president-elect who are officers of council, the past president, the honorary treasurer, and a public member of council. In addition to this, Valerie Watson from Deloitte, our auditor, was present. The recommendation from the audit committee was to approve the financials as presented. Valerie Watson reviewed the year-end communication letter and the audited financial statements, which was a clean audit with no concerns. On June 15th, our auditor actually came to council and presented the annual year-end letter and the audited financial statements, and they were approved as presented. So if you will turn to page 44 of the annual report and just going over the balance sheet. So overall, total assets increased by about 10.3% over 2020. Current liabilities increased over 2020 by about $80,000, which is a result of fees and licenses, which are collected in advance and result in both an increase in members and pharmacies. The unrestricted fund balance increased over 2020, primarily due to a decrease in expenses resulting in a surplus. And if you go to fees and licenses on Schedule 1 of page 52 of the report, you will see an increase over 2020 of approximately $232,000. Again, this is resulting from an increase in members, pharmacies, and other fees. One of the things I'd like to point out is this is primarily due to timing of the 2020 grads. They were not able to be licensed in 2020 due to COVID conditions, so they were actually licensed and registered in 2021. So it's a bit of an anomaly for this reporting year. Next up is the sundry revenue, which you can find on Schedule 2 of page 53 of the report. This decreased by about $71,000 compared to 2020. And again, this is primarily due to discipline, fines, and costs, which are unpredictable and vary year over year. And statement of operations, again, on page 45 of the annual report, going over the investment income. This was reduced slightly over 2020, again, just due to market conditions. 2021 was just over $100,000 in income versus just over $213,000 in 2020. We do continue with our long-standing low-risk investment policies. And turning to administration schedules, you can find that on Schedule 3 of page 54 of the report. Just going over some of the highlights, there was some bad debt in 2020 from unpaid discipline costs. That was actually eventually recovered in 2021, so you can see that in the Schedule 3. Building operations was slightly over 2020 by about $27,000. And again, building operations includes both our condo and the Park Street locations, primary resulting from a city tax reassessment and some inflationary costs. We were still under budget for the year, however. Again, administration Schedule 3, more highlights. So employee wages and benefits were up slightly over 2020. There was one additional staff member onboarded in 2020 and consumer price index increases of 1.6%. There were external consultants onboarded for competency assurance program that is currently ongoing and part of the strategic plan. General office expenses were slightly higher over 2020. Again, there was some recruitment within the office. There was COVID costs and staff returning to the office as well. Overall travel costs were down over 2020, again, continuing with COVID-19 protocols and essential travel only throughout 2021. Other expenses continued, so amortization was slightly lower over 2020. Compass was very consistent with 2020, just a slight increase, and again, based on just an increased number of pharmacies, which you would expect. Our continuing education costs were consistent over 2020, which is reflective of the consistency of membership. And overall council costs were down due to COVID and virtual meetings. Throughout 2021, we were unsure of how COVID would play out, so there was some scheduled in-person meetings and some scheduled virtual. However, all the meetings were done virtually due to COVID. And so other expenses continued. So delegates, there was no travel due to COVID-19 restrictions. Legal and audit continues to grow. Complaints and discipline is included in here, regulatory reform costs, and bylaw and policy obligations in our statutes. Other committees were lower over 2020, again, just to COVID. The meetings continued, but were done virtually, which will be continuing as a tradition ongoing. They worked well and they were very effective. Other committees were low. I'm sorry, you said that already. Public and professional relations was consistent over 2020, aside from a one-time payment just to update all the minor ailments, which is will be completed by September. So overall revenue was up over 2020 slightly by about $60,000. Expenses were up over 2020 by roughly $278,000, and again, kind of went over those in Schedule 3. That was the introduction of a new staff member, a temporary contracted consultant for competency assurance, consumer price index increases of 1.6%, legal and audit of $62,000, and a one-time payment for some work on the minor ailments. So overall, there was a surplus of just over 218,000, which is a little lower than 2020 of 437,000. And again, unprecedented amounts just due to large decreases in expenses due to COVID-19. And so the fund balance at the end of 2021 was roughly 2.2 million, which is an increase of the surplus of 405,000. And at the end of December 31st, so snapshot of cash on hand was 273,058. Total restricted reserve, so that includes our catastrophic discipline fund of 500,000, and our policy of 50% of the admin costs must be restricted, and so roughly 1.4 million. The unrestricted fund balance at the end of 2020 was just over 987,000, and the operating fund balance at the end of 2021 was 1.2 million in there. And just other restricted funds that we have is a building fund and training and competency fund as well. And any questions? I'll ask one more time if there's any questions on the financials. Hearing none, thank you very much, everyone. I'll turn the floor back over to you, President Amaya.
Thank you very much, Gina. And we move to consideration of the annual report as printed and distributed. So at this time, I ask if you have any general comments or questions regarding the 2021 SCPP annual report. I ask one more time, any questions regarding the annual report? Hearing none. Moving on to new business. Now I ask if there's any new business to be discussed for consideration by council to be brought back to the next scheduled AGM. I ask one more time, any new business? Hearing none. So with that, I declare the 111th Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals annual general meeting to be adjourned. Next on the agenda, we will be recognizing our public and member volunteers. Certificates of recognitions are presented to councillors and committee members of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals for the dedication and contribution to the public and to council and to the Council of SCPP. And these are the members who will be receiving certificates of recognition. Thank you for your efforts and volunteering. Before moving to the new president installation, I'd like to express my gratitude to the current council members for the commitment to deliver SCPP mission and vision, to Gina and her team for their resilience and engagement, to my team for taking care of business and our patients, and to my family for the love and support. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve as president of the College of Pharmacy Professionals of Saskatchewan. And with that, it is time to install the next president of SCPP. So it's my pleasure and to invite Registrar Gina Wendell to perform the presidential installation. Gina?
Thank you very much, Rod. Amy Wiebe, having been duly elected as president of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals for the 2022-2023 professional year, commencing on July 1st of 2022, in this capacity, it has been and will continue to be your duty to preside in council over all meetings of the college, to sign all certificates, diplomas, and other instruments or documents executed on behalf of the college, and to present a report to the annual meeting of the college and to be ex officio member of all committees. It will be further your duty to conduct the affairs of the college so that the members may have pride in the profession and so that the citizens of this province will recognize that they have been professionally served by those whom your office will represent. I ask then, do you accept this office and to serve your college to the best of your ability?
I do.
I invest you with this gavel, which is an emblem of your office, and I now declare you, Amy Weeb, installed as the president of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals. Congratulations, Amy.
Thank you very much, Gina. It is my honor and privilege to accept this responsibility. Fellow esteemed colleagues, friends, and tirelessly unwavering pharmacy professionals, I'm so proud of the hard work and dedication you have given to serving your patients and the needs within your communities over the past year. I know these days have not been easy. While the Instant Pot pressure cooker, which has gained popularity over the past few years, might create the prime environment for getting dinner on the table, it's certainly not an ideal environment for providing patient care. I believe the pressure placed on pharmacy environments is greater now more than ever. There are external pressures that have impacted us all, imposed by political, economic, social, and technological forces beyond our control. As we have seen and felt, the environment we practice in is heavily influenced by policy, inflation, labor shortages, social media, and changing attitudes and beliefs of the people we serve. Rather than waiting for these difficult times to end or waiting for this all to be behind us, we're becoming accustomed to this new normal. While the storm may not have passed as we had hoped, I encourage you to remember that even behind storm clouds, the sky is still blue. An ancient Greek philosopher is quoted as saying, "Change is the only constant in life." Just as a business needs to maintain a vision and pivot in response to a changing environment, so do we as healthcare professionals to find the possibility, the hope, and the opportunity to improve care to address the strains on and gaps within the system. As accessible and trusted practitioners within our communities, we have been and must continue to be ready to grow and adapt to meet these needs. The vision established by the college continues to ring true and inspire us to move forward, to deliver quality pharmacy care for a healthier Saskatchewan. As a regulatory body, we have continued to take strides to achieve this vision by building stronger and more relevant competency assurance processes and empowering pharmacy professionals to practice autonomously in the delivery of safe patient care. Additionally, we have proven ready to step up to the plate, to take on the role of prescribing oral antiviral agents to help add one more strategy to the COVID navigation toolbox. Seems the world has become more polarized, and pharmacy professionals have an important role to play in meeting people where they are at and partnering to understand individual patient goals and values. In order to do this, we are challenged to bring a non-stigmatizing mindset and approach by striving to make our services safer to access and more inclusive. As a regulatory body, we take inclusivity seriously, and we're taking steps to create foundations which reduce barriers to care. We consider this when developing and updating policy and frameworks, one example of this being the modernization of the Code of Ethics to support gender-inclusive language, which was completed this past year. We have made a commitment to continue to emphasize the importance of equity, diversity, and inclusion in daily pharmacy practice through education integrated with the competency assurance process. We do this as we anticipate the publication of NAPRA's Principles of Professionalism in the coming year, as we believe that professionalism is fundamental to the delivery of quality healthcare. In the context of ever-increasing demands on our time and resources, we run the risk of succumbing to escalating stress and the associated professional burnout. For this reason, I encourage us all to acknowledge that moving forward will warrant an abundance of care, not only by considering our contributions to patient care, but also by implementing strategies to engage in our own self-care. I would also submit the importance of participating in another form of care, what I would call profession care. When I use this term, I'm referring to the importance of taking pride in our unique skill sets as pharmacy professionals, as well as respecting the privilege we have to not only fulfill our roles, but also continue to strive to build excellence within them. We are challenged to do this while also extending care and compassion to our patients and ourselves through trying times. I believe if we actively participate in all three forms of care, we will come out stronger and better positioned to grow in the work we do. I'm deeply honored to have the privilege of accepting the role of President of SCPP, and I wish to extend my sincerest gratitude for the efforts being made in strengthening the ability for pharmacy professionals to provide quality patient, self, and profession care. At this time, I wish to acknowledge the outgoing members of Council for their time and energy shared at the board table. I want to thank past President Stephanie Scott for bringing her perspective and expertise to Council. Thank you also to Rod Amaya for the sincere and collaborative spirit with which he fulfilled the role of President over the past year. Thank you to Gina Wendell for her resilient leadership through a multitude of changes. To the Council and SCPP staff for their dedication to steering through the shifting landscape. To our stakeholders for their collaboration and support. And to the individual pharmacy professionals across the province for continuing to put your best foot forward while navigating day-to-day changes. Remember the positive impact we can all have by continuing to bring our best selves to our daily work as pharmacy professionals. We have now reached the end of our agenda, and I would like to thank you for your attendance.